Jets fans, Aaron Glenn is finally turning his words into reality. For years, we've heard the same promises: culture change, new identity, different mindset, and every single time, nothing really changed. But something feels different right now, because as mandatory minicamp begins, Aaron Glenn isn't just talking anymore, he's building something. And for the first time in a long time, the New York Jets are starting to look like a football team with a real identity.
But before we get into it, if you're a die-hard Jets fan, make sure you're subscribed to Jetstream News. We're your go-to source for daily engaging content on all things. Help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers this offseason by hitting that subscribe button now.
What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome back to the channel. If you love New York Jets football, make sure you subscribe because this offseason is becoming one of the most important periods this franchise has experienced in years. Mandatory minicamp is officially underway. The roster is together. The coaches are watching everything. And Aaron Glenn is making one thing very clear. Nobody is getting a free pass. Not veterans, not draft picks, not free agents, not anybody. Because Glenn understands something that previous regimes never fully solved. Talent alone doesn't win games. Culture does. And right now, culture is exactly what he's trying to build. When Aaron Glenn accepted this job, he inherited a team coming off disappointment. A roster filled with questions, a locker room that had lost confidence, and a fan base that was tired of hearing excuses. So instead of focusing on headlines, he focused on foundations. That's why throughout OTAs and now minicamp, the message has been remarkably consistent. Discipline, accountability, communication, attention to detail. Those aren't flashy words, but they're the same words you hear inside successful organizations every year. And Glenn knows that. Because he's been inside winning locker rooms, he's played the game. He's coached elite defenses, and now he's trying to create those same standards in New York. One of the biggest differences fans are already noticing: competition everywhere. Look at the secondary. Look at linebacker. Look at edge rusher. Look at wide receiver. Nobody feels completely comfortable, and that's intentional. Aaron Glenn doesn't want players protecting their jobs. He wants players earning them. Every practice, every rep, every drill. That's why so many position battles remain open. The coaching staff wants pressure, because pressure reveals who players really are. And when training camp arrives, those competitions are only going to become more intense. The Jets didn't accidentally bring in players like Geno Smith, or Demario Davis, or Minkah Fitzpatrick, or David Onyemata. Those moves weren't only about football. They were about leadership. Aaron Glenn wanted players who understand professionalism, players who know what winning environments look like, players who can help younger teammates understand what's expected every single day. That's why reports from minicamp continue mentioning communication, leadership, energy, organization. The Jets aren't trying to build a roster. They're trying to build standards. And that's a huge difference. Let's be honest, Jets fans. We've seen rebuilds before. We've heard promises before. We've watched new coaches arrive before. But this feels different for one reason. Aaron Glenn isn't selling hope. He's demanding accountability. He's not promising playoffs. He's not making bold predictions. He's not creating headlines. He's focusing on habits. Because championship teams aren't built in September, they're built in June. They're built during practices nobody watches. They're built during meetings nobody talks about. They're built when coaches refuse to compromise standards. That's what Glenn is trying to establish right now. Of course, talking about culture is easy. Living it is harder. The real test begins when adversity arrives. What happens after a bad loss? What happens after injuries? What happens when expectations rise? That's where culture becomes real. And Aaron Glenn knows it. That's why he's pushing so hard right now. He's trying to prepare this team before those moments arrive. Because eventually, every NFL team gets tested. The great teams survive. The bad teams collapse. The Jets are trying to become one of the teams that survives. And honestly, Jets fans, this may be the most encouraging development of the entire offseason. Not a signing, not a draft pick, not a trade. The fact that Aaron Glenn is creating an identity. For the first time in years, the Jets actually know who they want to be. Physical, disciplined, competitive, accountable. Whether that translates into wins immediately remains to be seen. But the foundation is finally being built, and every successful franchise starts there. Jets fans, do you believe Aaron Glenn is the coach who can finally change the culture of this organization? Or do you need to see results before buying in? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're excited about everything happening during minicamp, training camp, roster battles, and the future of this football team, make sure you subscribe right now, because the Aaron Glenn era is officially underway, and this story is only getting started. As always, go Jets! Thanks for watching!